Hello, it's the Friday Talkie. Video output this week has been a bit limited. Domestic busyness and pain. Yeah, the angiogram has been giving me a little bit of grief. But anyway, we're not going to dwell on that. What have I got for you today? A little bit different today. I'm going to combine my main topic with my shout out, because I was going to shout this chap out anyway. I'm kind of surprised either YouTube is messing around or I wasn't subscribed when I thought I was. The guy I'm referring to is MDMax09. Mikey's Video Game Madness. I thought I was subscribed to him because I'd got him in my bookmarks for people to shout out, but when I went along and had a look at his channel today, because I was following a video by 65 Gamer Guy, he'd done a video response to a video done by Mikey, and I thought, hold on, I don't appear to be subscribed, so I now am. Now I don't know if that was YouTube being a twat and unsubscribing, as it sometimes does, or if I just hadn't, but yeah, I subscribe now. So Mikey's channel is he's got it separated into various playlists, different types of gameplay. He describes it actually really well, what he's doing in the video that he's put up, well, 3 days ago, but it's the one I watched today. Mikey Talks. So he's got like talkie videos. I think this actually might be his first one, but gameplay videos with and without commentary, and I think he's doing a long play series on a particular game, the name of which I've completely forgotten, but he talks about it in this Mikey Talks video. Anyway, here's my shout out for today. I like what he's doing there. He's been a long time subscriber, and I don't know why I thought I was subscribed. I need to pay more attention to who I'm sub to and who I'm not. Anyway, the question he asks is an interesting one. It is, what kind of gamer were you between 1977 and 1983? Because for a lot of people this is when this is like the golden age of gaming. For me, gaming started a bit earlier. It started around 1972 when I was all of 4 years old, or thereabouts. I've told this story a billion times, but I'm going to tell it again. Electromechanical games. Missile by Sega, that kind of thing. I mean, there weren't arcades at that time were kind of like on the end of the pier somewhere at the seaside, or fairgrounds, like the annual fairground at Toaster used to come around, and they'd have amusements, and it was mostly one-armed bandits, but they did have some of these electromechanical things. And then there was it was a sport, was it a working men's club or a sports club in New Bradwell, Milton Keynes. My grandfather used to go there, and we'd go along every Sunday to visit my grandparents, and sometimes we would go to this working men's club or sports club or whatever it was, and they would sometimes have these electromechanical things, and I played them and I loved them. I was fascinated by them. So that's when I got into gaming, before video games had even hit the scene. Sometime probably around 1974 I got to play Pong, and it's like 65 Gamer Guy said, I found it incredible that here was something happening on a TV screen that I could control, because up until then TV was entirely passive. You know, you couldn't control what happened on it, and here was this TV screen in a massive, great big fridge-sized cabinet, and I was controlling a bat, and here was this ball, and I could hit the ball, and it was like magic. It was completely magic. That's how gaming started for me. 77, I mean, Space Invaders and such like were just starting to happen around then, I think. I'd moved to Deanshanger by then, and there was a little cafe in Stony Stratford that had a Space Invaders machine. I'm not sure if this was 77 or a bit later. First home gaming system I got around that time was a Pong machine, and it was a lot like this. It wasn't this exact model. I haven't got the exact model. This is a Binatone TV Master Mark 6. Now what I had was a Mark 10, and I've got a Mark 10 here, but it's different to the one I had back then, which is a shame because I can't show you the exact thing. But it just plays Pong. variations of it: tennis, squash, football, blah, and you got all your various options and difficulty settings and stuff. Speed, angle, bat size, serve. And that's the kind of gaming I did at home for several years. There was a chap down the end of the street who was I've spoken about this before, but you know, maybe not everyone has heard the story. A chap down the end of the street who was I think he was a navigator on an F-111 nuclear bomber. Yeah, they were stationed in Britain at Upper Hayford, which was not a billion miles away from where I lived. And I'd watch the F-111s flying over, and A-10 tank busters. Wow, they were awesome, because they'd come in low in pairs. I used to love watching that. But anyway, he lived down our street, and he had an Atari. He had the Atari 2600, and I don't know how old he was. He must have been like in his early 20s, and here was me about 9, with my friend up the street who was also about 9, and he used to let us go around his place and play on his Atari, and we would play Adventure because it was just bloody fantastic. I mean, he must have just been tolerating our presence because we lived in the street, and it's good to be friends with the neighbours perhaps, because you got to wonder when a 20-something person is letting 9-year-olds in their house to play video games. That would really be frowned upon now, but you know. As I remember it, he didn't appear to be freaky or weird. So that was my first taste of home console gaming, like beyond Pong. But up until 1980 I didn't really have anything else. All I had at home was Pong. And then in 1980 I got one of these, which is, it's a Game & Watch. This one is branded Timeout, but it is actually Nintendo. It's made by Nintendo. They just didn't have a distribution deal in the UK at that time, so I don't know who the hell Timeout were. Where this would be called Ball, if it were the actual Nintendo branded one. This is called Toss Up, which, endless chuckles. I don't know if you'd be able to see on the back there. It actually is, yeah, made by Nintendo. Just for those who were like saying cheap knockoff. No, it's not. And I loved it. I played that a lot. And then, yes, actually really topical retro gamer this month. It's all about these tabletop games, and I had a CGL Galaxy Invader 1000, which was that yellow one, and there's no picture of it here, but I had one of these, Grandstand Astro Wars, and I loved that game. It was, nearest thing to it would be Galaxian, or maybe a hint of Gallagher, but more like Galaxian, with other levels in it, and it was great for something that was just a LED based, really basic, primitive kind of thing. It was a really good game, and I played that to death. I mean, it went through batteries like you wouldn't believe. I don't know if it had the D or C batteries, but it went through them quite rapidly. And that was probably 1982-ish, give or take. And it wasn't until 1980... Well, no, what did I get next? I got a ZX81. In about 1982, or it might have been 1983, like early 80, no, can't remember exactly when it was. It was 82 or 83. I got one of these, ZX81 by Sinclair. I had a 16K RAM pack by Memotech, and unlike the Sinclair one, which just fits there, this one went all the way along the back, which fitted in stylistically with the design of this. But it was just completely unstable, and it would wobble, you know, you press your keys and hey presto, it would crash. So I didn't get a lot done with that, and I didn't have a tape recorder either. It was fun. I kind of learned, I would say I learned programming on it in BASIC, but the truth is I learned that I couldn't program in BASIC because I was just, because I couldn't save stuff. It didn't help. I would learn a little bit, but what I really needed to do was do a little bit, save it, come back to it and build up on stuff, but there was never any building up because I couldn't save it and everything I did was lost when I turned it off. Shame. And then one day it just had chronic memory wobble. The RAM pack on the back just... They would break connection because they had a really cheap, shitty edge connector thing on them. And one day it crashed and it just never came back. It never powered up again. It died. I was sad. So then, Christmas 1983, I got one of these. And this for me is when home video gaming really started. When I got this, it's the Vader. I've always had a liking for the Vader since having one of these in '83. This one's made in Ireland. I got that with, it came with Combat, which I've always thought was absolutely crap. And I say thankfully, Pac-Man, which in retrospect was not a great conversion of Pac-Man. If you wanted an accurate copy of the arcade game, it was piss poor. But as a game in its own right, it played all right. It kept me occupied, and I certainly played it for several weeks, virtually non-stop. Ran it round the clock, played assorted different modes. And enjoyed it, and that for me was when home console gaming started. I built up a fair collection of cartridges for it over a long period of time. I mean, I was playing that right through. That was my main gaming system from '83 to '86. Yeah, about '86. And I mean, back then cartridges for it cost a bloody fortune. You were talking £30 a time for at least the first couple of years that I had it, and then they dropped down to about £20, something like that. I mean, they were insanely expensive. People complain about the price of games now. You know, your £30, £40 for a Blu-ray with a massive game on it that you can play for months and months and months. Well, I've got news for you. They cost £30 back in '83, and £30 back then was a hell of a lot of money. And you got a 4K game that you could... The sole objective was the score, and you could clock it within a few hours. So I'm telling you, value for money is a lot better these days. And I kind of poo-poo those who say games are too expensive. No, they're bloody not. You're getting great value. Still don't like downloaded stuff though. But that's another story. Yeah, that's where I was at gaming wise between '77 and '83. Also in '83, loads of friends got the Sinclair Spectrum and indeed the Dragon 32, so I got to play those, though I never had any of them. I did get to play on quite a few friends' home computers. It was an exciting time because it was all new. This progression from electromechanical, where you kind of understood how it worked, to these console and computer games. It was incredible. It was magical. It was, oh, I don't know, it was a step into the unknown to a young mind like mine. Kind of miss it. These days it's like you kind of get used to the fact that it progresses generation on generation of hardware. You actually kind of get impatient. I remember being surprised when gaming got more complex, got better, graphics got better, games got bigger. You know, I got used to Space Invaders and Galaxian and Asteroids and stuff like that in the arcades, and I thought that's what video games were to me. It never occurred to me that they would progress and get bigger and better. And then they did, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And they kept getting better. And I suppose after like 10 years of that happening, I got used to the idea. And now it's like, another generation, The improvement between PS2 and from PS2 to PS3 is like, PS1 to PS2 really did impress me. It was I would say an immense leap, but you know, games suddenly started looking like you thought they should do. PS1, they did kind of look ropey. You had all that tearing and smearing of textures and whatnot where they were closer to the virtual camera, so to speak. And with the PS2 they'd sorted all that out and things were looking pretty impressive. But then up from PS2 to PS3 it's like, yeah, well, we were expecting that, weren't we? And what can they really do next? They're going to push higher resolution, but meh. Better AI, more processing power, blah blah blah. Better lighting effects probably. Stuff, but it's going to be subtle. Will it matter? Don't know. But it absolutely won't be that jaw-dropping, mind-blowing, oh my god, what kind of wizardry is this, progression that there was back in the 70s and 80s. And that's a shame, but what can you expect? They can't work magic. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of that's my reply. That's my video response to MD Max 09 Mikey. His what kind of game were you between 77 and 83? Do go check out his video. Okay, I've done the shout out already, just because I've got it all in the wrong order. What? I haven't turned the camera around and pointed it, but I've told you what's there. Go check his channel out. What is coming up? Actually, I've got something coming up which isn't more of the same. Just for a change, there will be more of the same. There's going to be more TV Boy videos. There's going to be some Commodore 64 videos because I've got the Commodore hooked up. I've got a flash cart, not cart, SD card thingamajig hooked in. It's a virtual disk drive and a whole load of games. And excuse me a moment. Okay, that's embarrassing. I was sent a link to a whole load of games for the Commodore 64 and I've lost the bleeding message, so I can't remember who sent them to me. Oh, that's embarrassing. Well, I know you know who you are, so thank you. I haven't actually tried those yet, but I will be. That's part of why my Commodore 64 is out. Tell me who you were, remind me, and I'll put an annotation in here because I do like to give credit where it's due, and I'm very embarrassed that I can't because my memory is crap and I've lost the message. Doh! Yeah, so there's going to be some Commodore 64 game videos, there's going to be some TV Boy videos. I have got a short series of something else in mind. Whether or not that gets done this coming week or not, I don't know. More joystick of the day. I do need to get some more system overviews done. I hope I will have time coming up next week. School holidays are over, so Andrea will be back at work. So I will have more time for video making, which I haven't had because I've been having a pleasant domestic life, which is good. Yes, but also coming up, it's on Sunday, it's my birthday. Yay, I'm going to be 44. How the hell did that happen? So sometime next week you can expect, I don't normally do pickups videos, but I do them at I said do. Yeah, sorry. Pickup style video thing sometime next week to show you what I got, because I know some of it and some of it I don't. But there's some good stuff worth showing, I know that much. Alright, time to do an editing job now and cut out all the nonsense where I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Shambolic video. God, you would almost think I was a Tory. It's such an omni-shambles. Anyway, thank you for watching.